Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu, Ma Viddushavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om to all of you. If you see the Srishti, animal kingdom, plant kingdom, human beings. See, if you see any of these species, there are a lot of unique or peculiarities for the human species, human beings. When we say peculiarities, the so-called free will, we don't need to go with the destiny. We have the choice to design our own life. Capacity to choose what I really need for my future, right? If something is coming into life, you don't need to really get affected. You can overcome the issues. So that is where the free will is coming. Destiny and the free will. If you see, I am destined to be like that, you don't need to be, because you do have the free will. This is the unique capability of human beings. You can even design your life. Capacity to choose own future. And if you see human beings, again there are a lot of commonalities with the animals, if you see, such as the pre-programmed instincts, such as hunger, thirst, correct, food, rest, safety, etc., right? And what are the differentiating factors? When you say we have got the free will, we have got the capability to design our own life, what is that uniqueness that animals are not having? So the uniqueness is basically the intellect, the buddhi, the rational intellect. And if you see our goals in life, the purushartham, the so-called as dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Let us see artham. Artham is all about what? Artham is basically the endless search for security and well-being. Artham is all about, correct? It means the endless seeking of wealth, power, fame, influence, etc. So animals also seek shelter, right? They also want protection from rain and sun, and so they also seek shelters. But what we do as human beings, we will always try to go for something better, right? The shelter of an animal is, we can say that it has got a definite end point. Whereas human beings, we will feel desires are never ending. So this is a small house I need to, right? Or I need to extend, or I need to go, or I need to buy a different one, or maybe next house should be better than this, right? So always, artha is about the endless security, or say endless search for the security. When you say security, money is security, wealth, or maybe not only the money, the wealth that you want to possess, the influence that one has to have, correct? So different ways we always try to seek security. That is artham. And then comes the kama. We do have sense organs, and we always want to have pleasures. Even eating food is also a sensual pleasure. Correct? Sometimes, we go beyond the necessity of eating and go to the taste part. And you see, practical things in life, travel is also something kama. Right? Even entertainment, music, all are kama. Correct? When you say when you hear the term kamam, don't just confine to the desires and sexual desires and things like that. It is all about the pleasures that one is seeking in life. Sensory pleasures. So animals are also having this, right? But if you see the animals, their pleasures are guided by instincts. Correct? And they don't use the self-judgment. What is apt at this point of time? Maybe human beings are able to relate. Yeah, this is not apt. Let me not think about this. Not at this point of time. Correct? See, our desires are also driven by instincts, but that is also governed by self-judgment. And also, we always think about something better because we always try to have a value-based, measuring. That is why we are having innumerable number of desires in our life. And those desires are again changing every now and then. Correct? But once we have something, we will aim for something better than that. Correct? Artham and kamam. Then comes the dharmam. What is dharmam? Dharmam is all about righteousness, all about ethics in life. Correct? Even the artham and kamam should be gained through the framework of dharma. And technically, dharmam should occupy the first place than the artham and kama. The pursuit of artha and kama should be preceded or governed by the dharma. Maybe we can say in a very modern language, these all are the ethics that one should have in life. When we say righteousness, maybe it's a very polished word, but we can say in a common man's term, ethics. Certain life principles, moral duties, responsibilities, moral governance. And what are we trying to do? We are trying to seek happiness at different levels. In the form of permanency, something has to be permanent. Happiness should be permanent in me, right? Security should also be permanent. Every time of my life, right, including the health of the body, it should be secured. And my happiness should be incessant. It should be continuous. So that is why we search for things every now and then. We move from one thing to another thing, seeking different objects, this object to other object. So what we need a continuity. We need a permanency. We need incessant security and happiness in life. And we are always searching. Correct? So when we say we are searching, what are we trying to do? We are finding security. We are finding hope. We are finding fulfillment. We are finding continuity in every aspect. Isn't it so? Because if we say that, right, yeah, he lost the job. Oh, how the family will run, or how the family will have money coming. So that is where the discontinuity is coming. We are always, in search of outcomes to fulfill what? To fulfill wealth, hope, etc. That is why we are seeking one object, another object, going from one object to another object. We are not satisfied. We are always seeking. Correct. And if you see mind, our mind is thinking that at some point of time I will gain the perfection. Isn't it so? Our mind is also thinking that at some point of time I will be able to reach that state of perfection. So mind is always, trying to find out what is that state where, I will be happy, where that perfection will come to me. But the unfortunate part is basically the peace that our mind is looking will not come just by searching the objects. The mind is also clear. We are also clear, right? So in life, if you see, if someone will say that, yeah, I will be happy if I get this much of money, right? We also know that by the time we reach there, we will have a different set of aspirations in life. Correct. So our mind is also clear, and theoretically or technically, we all are clear that, whatever we are seeking from outside cannot give permanency in life. We are also very clear. Our mind is also very clear. And our mind is also very clear that if that desire is achieved, we will never be happy. We will try to seek something beyond that. So now my question is, can we imagine a state where the mind is no longer pursuing or trying to become something? Mind not trying to become something, not pursuing. Mind is just going with the flow, right? So now we are here. We are here not for becoming something, right? We are here just for, sake of being here.
That's the state of moksha.
That we are getting. Daily we are getting. Can you deny that? Without any desires, there is a state in our life. What is that state? The deep sleep. We all are achieving that. And you all will agree without much, technicalities that without having any problem, you are sleeping. And without the intervention of mind, without the intervention of the body, without the intervention of the relationships, nothing is affecting you in the deep sleep. So it means what? In the deep sleep, all the objects, all the faculties that are seeking the objects are not active. Means what? By inherent nature, we are having this happiness. That is what we are experiencing in the deep sleep. Meaning, mind is no longer there and no longer pursuing or trying to become something. In deep sleep, are we trying to become something? Are we trying to become a millionaire? Are we trying to become something? No. Mind is empty. Mind is not demanding anything. We are not having that body consciousness. We are in that nijasthiti. We are in that true state. But in the deep sleep, we are not really aware of that, right? This is ajnanam prevailing there. Mind is empty there. Mind is not demanding anything. There is no objects to be experienced. Who is experiencing? Mind is experiencing, right? So mind is absent. Mind is inactive. Meaning there is no object to be experienced. You are with this object. You are in that state. So it is very simple. We all can easily comprehend this. So awareness is not something is extraordinary. Correct? Are you aware that you are sleeping? Or when you wake up, right? Are you aware that you had a good sleep, 5 hours of sleep? Or 2 hours of sleep, or in between I saw some dreams? You are aware. In your awareness only everything is happening. And in your awareness only you slept, and in your awareness only you felt that, yeah, what a good sleep. In fact, I had a nap, 5 minutes nap before coming here, right? Super. Though it was 5 minutes, no disturbance, you are in that state. So, are we aware of that? So, this is what Shraddha is needed. When you say Shraddha, simply aware of your ideas, simply aware of your speech, simply aware of your reactions, simply aware of the comparisons that mind is creating, simply aware of the justifications that mind is bringing.
But Shraddha is basically my desire to bring my mind to that state.
Basically this is the kind of tuning. For tuning for what? Tuning to be aware, right? And that awareness is the backbone of the mind again. Awareness is just a coin. Let us use this analogy. Coin is in vending machines. If you want to have a tea, maybe now I think we need to do the barcode scanning and GPay and all. But in the olden times, maybe best thing is in the bus stations and railway stations, the weighing machine. You all will be able to relate what I am trying to say. 1 rupee. I think sometime back it was 50 paise, but 1 rupee. What do you need for checking your weight? You standing on it without a coin will not help, or you smiling at the weighing machine will not help, right? Or weighing machine will not be compassionate enough. Oh, okay, this guy is not having money, so let me give an indication of his weight. Nothing will happen. What do you really need? What do you really need? Coin is needed. Correct. Coin is needed. Coin is needed for what? That coin will not tell you the weight.
To actuate the machine.
To actuate. You are really buying. You are really buying the time or the capability of the machine for what? To get your weight. So this awareness is the entry to the truth. You being aware of things, you being aware of your sleep, you being aware of your present moment. So that awareness is a coin to buy. In fact, when I say buy, I am trying to relate with the vending machine. That awareness is the method to know the truth. That truth, the Satyam, which is there within all of us. So when I say Shraddha is a coin, that awareness is a quiet mind is very much needed, because the mind has to settle down, then only we will be able to see the reality behind the mind. Kenopanishad says, Shrotrasya Shrotram Manaso Manoyat Vachoha Vajam Sau Pranasya Prana Chakshusha Chakshur Adimuchyadira Pretyasmat Logad Amruda Bhavanti. The mind of the minds, the eye of the eyes, the ear of the ears. Correct? So this is where that quietness is needed to see what is the reality behind the mind. So everyone is able to understand this. See what we do, we try to interpret it differently. Right? And that is where everyone is undergoing this kind of search. And this search is for what? Search is for knowing the truth. And that is where the Purushartham called as moksha is coming. And this is only very peculiar for human beings.
What does Purushartham mean? I mean, I know it means these 4 things.
So Purushan is what? Purushan is the person, right? We can interpret it in this way also. And the real value a jiva should gain in life. What is the real value? Let us forget about artha, kama, dharma, moksha. What is the real value one has to gain in life? Is it something like getting money? I'm not saying that we should not. We should have money. We should have wealth or money or power to do the transaction. But will that bring a sustainable happiness? Artham, kamam will not get. And dharmam is the channel. But these are not our end goals. The end goal is basically the inner freedom, deriving the real capability which is there within all of us. When you say inner freedom, freedom from slavery, freedom from the disturbances coming from the world, freedom from the attachment, freedom from dharma, artham, kamam, freedom from the sense of bondage created by the raga, dvesha, kartrutva, bhoktrutvam. What is again this freedom? This freedom is the inner strength. This freedom is the inner maturity. This freedom is the inner mastery. And getting this freedom is the primary goal. Freedom from what? Freedom from where? Freedom from where you need to get?
Freedom from all objects in life.
Freedom from the attachments, raga, dvesha, kartrutva, bhoktrutva. And these malinium will come when you interact in this world, or when I say interact, even thinking about others, thinking about the pursuits. So one has to get the mastery, the inner mastery. This is called as moksha. This is called as inner freedom. This is called as moksha, or what is that? Mukti. Different ways we call. Yeah. So this is the primary goal. This is the primary goal. All others are secondary goals.
Bhoktatvam is desire, right?
Enjoyership.
Enjoyership. And
Kartrutva is doership.
doership.
So our the Rishi Vakyam is basically human life is given for what? Human life is given to collect and realize this knowledge. Human life is given. That is the ultimate purpose. This is the Vakyam or Vajagam of a Rishi. Okay, and everybody is incarnated. Don't belittle ourselves. Everybody is incarnated. And incarnated as what? Incarnated as divine powers or divinity. And what we are doing is we are behaving like a very low creature. Everybody is an incarnation. As per Srimad Bhagavatam, avadarahi asankheyam. Bhagavatam says that avadarams are asankhya. We cannot count, innumerable. Hold on. We say that we all are manifestations. That divinity has manifested in different forms. Obviously, all are divine. So, we need to really come out of the clutter of the mind. One has to be, having a quiet mind, alert mind, vigilant mind, which is peaceful and not seeking, not searching and not seeking. When you say not searching and seeking, it is not something like, you don't have any, ambitions in life. Not like that. Going after objects and objects and objects and objects and trying to find happiness and peace from them. You will you will transact with objects. It is not something like...
Is seek moksha, don't seek others.
Seek moksha, it is not like again not seeking others. For the sake of transactions, you have to deal. But with the right knowledge, one has to understand that the ultimate aim in life is not dharmam, artham and kam. Yes. It is a state actually. It is a state. It is the inherent state. It is your nijasthiti. Nijasthiti, this is the Sanskrit word. So you are not trying, you are not getting something. You are that actually.
You are eliminating.
Yeah, you have basically,
I think we will get into that state when we follow these things.
Right. Yeah.
The four yogas.
There is nothing coming from outside. Nothing is coming from outside. So what? Ragam is desire. Desire.
Dvesh means anger.
Dvesham is aversion or anger. We can write it like that.
We say these things will be very transactional.
Yes. Yes.
material.
Yes. Yeah, obviously, because transaction
Only
is...
the inner plane, you
Huh,
are happiness.
absolutely. Because in transactions you cannot run away. You see, Vyavaharam is all about Ahangaram. But we cannot do Vyavaharam without Ahangaram. Without the small I, we cannot do the Vyavaharam. Correct. But doing Vyavaharam is not the ultimate purpose in life. Vyavaharam has to be done for the sake of doing Vyavaharam. Correct. Can you be the chief of a country for endless? He cannot be. Or you take anything, position or power that we all have. Correct. We can. Those all are not permanent. So you are there at some point of time. So you have to execute that. Correct. At your capacity, you have to execute. You need to come out of that. Correct. So these all are the kind of things which are destined to happen. You just need to transact it without creating raga, dvesha, kartrutva, bhoktrutva, the bondages. So one has to have the quiet mind. One has to have the alert mind, where the business of becoming will not happen. So that is where our sampradayam, our tradition focuses on doing the daily rituals, japa sadhanas, mantras, chanting sahasranamas, doing pujas, getting into meditation, listening, satsanga. Again, the Upanishad says, Sravanaya api bahuvir yona labhya srunnanto api bahaho yamna vidyo ascharyo vakta kushalosya labda ascharyo jnata kushala anusishta. So, hearing itself is, bhagyam. And when you say hearing, again, Shraddha is needed. Why Shraddha is needed? Shraddha is basically for the Jnana Arjana. And ultimately, Moksham is again the Jnana Prapti, nothing else. So, the Jnanam will come through Shraddha, and Shravanam has to be there, Bahya Shravanam. And then the Antarika Shravanam should happen. Antarika Shravanam meaning the inner contemplation or reflection. So one has to have the four important disciplines in life. What are those four? Vairagya, the dispassion. Dispassion is basically what? Detaching from the unreal. This is dispassion. And attaching to the real. Detaching from the objects and attaching to the subject. This is the dispassion.
First is
Vairagyam. Discrimination is different. Discrimination is
understand.
What is real, what is not real. Here it is detaching from the unreal and attaching to the real. Vivegam is discrimination. Vairagyam is dispassion. So now Vairagyam has to be there. Then you should have the Sharanagati, so called as Bhakti, so called as Prabhati. Correct. As a jiva, correct. As a jiva, I am bounded with the limitations, so called as body, mind, intellect, sense, etc. Different things. The influence of Sattvam, Rajas, Tamas, right? The influence of the Panchabhutas, right? So the mind ultimately knows the deficiencies, and the mind is also aware that I am not this mere object, so called as body, mind, intellect, sense. So the mind is seeking the blessings from the truth, the higher power. That is where the Sharanagati, devotion, is coming into picture. So Vairagya, Sharanagati, then one should have the Sadgunas, the divine qualities. Maybe if you go back to 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Deviga Sampat, Devi Sampat.
Which verse?
Chapter 16. Chapter 16, the first 3 verses. I hope you all are able to recollect those 3 verses in the 16th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. you can chant those verses, the first three verses of Devasura Sambat Vibhaga Yoga. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Abhayam. Tyaga. Exactly. So I hope you all are able to recollect these verses, right? The qualities which are needed, the Devi Sampat, maybe the online audience also, right? You are all able to relate these qualities which are needed. Right? So these are the verses, these are the qualities. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhi Jnana Yoga Vyavastiti Danam Damascha Yajnascha Swadhyaya Tab Arjavam Ahimsa Satyam Ahimsa Satyamakroda Tyaga Shantira Vaishunam Daya Bhudeshu Loluptvam Mardavam Hrira Chabalam Tejakshamadhridi Shaucham Adroho Nati Manita Bhavanti Sampadam Devim Abhijadasya Bharata. So these are the qualities. I am not going into depth of those because we have seen all those qualities.
In Atmabodha we have
The 4 Ds: discrimination, dispassion, discipline and desire. Correct. So Vairagyam, Sharanagati, Sadguna Sampadhanam, Devi Sampadhanam.
discipline, they mentioned control of the mind, control of the senses.
Yes. Shamam, Damam, Paramam, Shraddha, Titiksha, Samadhanam. Right. So Sadguna Sambadhanam, and the last important discipline is Vedanta Vicharam, Nitya Vedanta Vicharam. Always in touch with the scriptures, in touch with this knowledge, reading this, right? Listening, Satsangam. Vedanta Vichara happens through Satsangam, daily, practice of reading, reflecting the Vedanta Vicharam, the textbooks, our scriptures. So these 4 disciplines are needed for what? To reach the state, to calm down the mind and allow the mind to gain the jnanam. These all are jnana yogyada prapti. Jnana prapti is the end result. That is also called as the state of moksha or the inner freedom. So what one has to do, practically you may ask, we all are doing different work into different professions, etc. What one has to do? We have to do the work, we have to go to office, we have to take care of family, right? What one has to practically, how one has to practically deal? You execute karma as a karma yoga, correct? Karma as a karma yoga, and karma yoga is all about discarding the impurities which are coming into you. In Sanskrit specifically, mala nivritti, freedom from the gathering of impurities. Karma yoga is the best way to get rid of the impurities coming into your inner plane out of the execution of karma. That is where karma was karma yogam.
Karma should be dharmic in nature.
Dharmic it should be, and again karma yogam should also have the prasada buddhi. You offer everything as a service to the God, and whatever that God gives, take it as a prasada buddhi. So karma yogam, when you execute meaningfully, the mala nivritti will happen. So the accumulation of raga, dvesha, kartrutva, bhoktrutvam will get avoided, and See, there are two problems. Avaranam and Vikshepam. Avaranam is what? Avaranam is not knowing the true nature. Not knowing the inner truth is Avaranam. Correct? And Vikshepam is what? Vikshepam is wrongly identifying something as your inner core. Correct? So you are identifying something, the objects as your true nature, mind as your true nature, transactions in the life as your true nature. You creating bondages, you creating limitations. That is basically the Vikshepam. Correct? Vikshepam. Avaranam is what? Avaranam is basically the hiding or the what is the right word? Veiling power. Correct? Other one is the projecting power. Not identifying, not knowing is Avaranam.
Avidya, right?
Huh. And these are the two components of Avidya. Avaranam and Vikshepam. Avarana is basically hiding the reality, not knowing the reality. Vikshepam is wrongly identifying that reality with something else. So, Vikshepam will come. Always when we are interacting in this world, this Vikshepam will come. Vikshepam is all about what? Tendency to wrongly identifying yourself with the objects that you interact. So that is where the Vikshepa Nivarti has to happen along with the Mala Nivarti. That is where one has to do the Upasana. Upasana Yogam has to be done. Karma Yogam for Mala Nivarti, Upasana Yogam for Vikshepa Nivarti. Then we all have to listen to this on a daily basis. Correct? Read, reflect, contemplate. So our Ajnanam will go when we listen about the subject. So Shravanam will kill Shravanam will do the Ajnana Nivarti. Shravanam will enable us to have the Ajnana Nivarti. Then Mananam will help us to help in the Samshaya Nivarti, the doubts. And Dhyanam will enable us to do the Vasana Nivarti. Karma Yogam for Mana Nivarti. Upasana Yogam for Vikshepa Nivarti. Shravanam for the Ajnana Nivarti. Mananam for the Samshaya Nivarti. Dhyanam for the Vasana Nivarti or Vasana Kshaya. Vasana is all the inherent traits which are there in all of us. Mananam is all about reflection, continuous reflection, contemplation. That will get rid of our samshayams, our doubts. Shravanam will help us to get rid of the ignorance, ajnana nivarti. Upasana will help us to withdraw or get rid of wrong identifications that we create in our life in place of true self. Karma Yogam will help us not to gather the unwanted stains that will create a stereotyping in us in the form of Raga, Dvesha, Kartrutva, Bhoktrutva. I hope you all are with me. So what has happened is basically our eternal essence is trapped in the ignorance. And our purpose of life is to make us rich. Make us rich in what? Make us rich in?
Real knowledge.
In this knowledge, in the inward wealth. The inward knowledge. Not rich in money or rich becoming millionaire, etc. If it is destined to happen, let it happen. Don't run away also. The purpose of life is make life inwardly rich. Irrespective of the circumstances, irrespective of the situations that we all are undergoing in life. So now what has happened is basically we are having associations with different upadhis. Correct? And what has really happened is that truth is unrecognized. So when you ask me the question Purusha Artham, it is the Artham of a Purusha. So Purushan is the soul, Purushan is the inner truth, Purushan is that divine consciousness within all of us. And that Purushan is covered with different layers, sheaths, so called as the Andhakaranam, Manasa, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahangaram, our 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Jnanendriyas, our 5 Pranas, Pancha Pranas, our 5 Panchabhudam, body is also composed of Agasham, Jalam, Vayu, Agni, Prithvi. Then the influence of Sattvam, Rajas, Tamas, the 3 gunas. Then the influence of the Desha, Kala, Vastu, space, time, object, causations.
It's like finally like Karana Sharira.
We are not talking about Karana Shariram, we are going beyond the Karana Shariram, the so called as the Purusha. And that Purushan is beyond the 3 Shariram, Stula, Sukshma, Karana Shariram. So Atma or the Brahman is the true reality. Purushan is that Atman, that Brahman. Maybe we can call in modern way that theory of everything. Theory of everything. You will also appreciate from Bhagavad Gita's point of view, the chapter 13, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Vibhaga Yogam. You are the Kshetrajna. You are not the Kshetra. Idam Shariram Kaunteya. Kshetram Ityabhidiyade. So this Shariram is a Kshetram. And the Kshetram will go. What will remain is the Kshetrajna. And you are the Kshetrajna. I hope you all are with me. Okay, now let us get into the Atmabodha 12th sloka. We covered up to 11. We had a good summary of the first 11 slokas in the last week. Straight away going to the sloka number 12. Panchīkrita Mahabhuta Panchīkrita Mahabhuta Sambhavam Karma Sanjidam Shariram Sukha Dukkhanam Hogayatanu Muchyate. Shariram Sukha Dukkhanam Hogayatanam Muchyate. Panchīkrita Mahabhuta Sambhavam Karma Sanjidam Shariram Sukha Dukkhanam Hogayatana Muchyate. Hogayatana. Okay. Muchyate. Sukha Dukkhanam Karma Sanjidam Shariram Panchīkrita Mahabhuta Sambhavam. So, what is this? Now you all will be able to appreciate from the Atmabodha, right? How the solidification or grossification happens. Right, from the 5 elements. These 5 elements have undergone through the 5-fold self-division and mutual combination. We call it as Panchīkarana.
You're talking about the food, vital...
No, not that actually. Basically the Sattva, Raja, Tamo Guna and Agasham, Jalam, Vayu, Agni, Prithvi. Right. So if you are able to remember, see 1 by 2 of the Agasham, correct? Then the 1 by 8th of the other 4 elements. Right, that is how the Panchīkarana happens. I am not going into that because we already have covered. So now the question here is, the 3 Shariram, so called as the Stula, Sukshma, Karana Shariram. From where these 3 Sharirams are coming? These three Sharirams are coming from the Panchīkaranam. And these 3 Shariram cannot exist by its own capability. That is where the divine power is needed. You are that divine power, so called the Atma. Atma Satyam Tada Anyat Mithya Idi. Maybe the Anyat meaning this Stula, Sukshma, Karana Shariram are Mithya. So now this slogam is basically saying about the bodies came through the Panjikaranam process, the mutual combination and self-division of these 5 elements. Correct. And we are not that. So body just came from the process of this Panjikaranam. Do you need any explanation here? Because I'm not going into this, because we already have covered this in the Tattva-bodham. How this Panjikarana happens, this grossification happens. Do anyone needs explanation here? It is already given in the table, but otherwise we have beautifully gone through this part in the Tattva-bodham. If it is required, I can do that. Online audience, do you need any explanation about how this is happening? Okay, so I am assuming that you are clear. So now the question is, all the 3 bodies so called as Stula, Sukshma, Karana Sharira. All these Sharirams are varying. All Sharirams are different in individuals. The inner intelligence is the constant. As per Gita, Bhagavad Gita, it's the Kshetrajnan. And we all are Kshetram. We all are different Kshetram. What is the definition of Kshetram as per Bhagavad Gita? What is Kshetram? Kshetram is area, temple, etc. You can use different definitions. It refers to a person. What is Kshetram? What is Kshetrajan? What is varying? What is not varying?
Body is the kshetra.
Body is the kshetra. Body varies across, correct? All kshetrams are different. And the kshetrajnan is same. And all kshetram came, sustain, and it will get destructed. Shiryade idi kshetram. Kshetram is something that will get deteriorated. So, hey Arjuna, you are not the kshetram, you are the kshetrajnan. So, the kshetram has undergone these 5-fold modifications that is given in this slogan. But you are not the kshetram, you are the kshetrajnan. You are the Atma, you are the Brahman. Correct? That is the implied meaning of this sloka. Going to the 13th verse. Panja prana mano buddhi ashendriya dhamanvitam apanjikrita bhudotham sukshmangam bhoga sadhanam. So now, Panja prana mano buddhi. So the subtle body is an instrument. The subtle body is an instrument of experience. And this is constituted of what? The 5 pranas, Panja prana. Correct? Mano buddhi, mind and intellect. Then the Deshendriya Samanyudam. Deshendriya here meaning the 5 Karmendriyam and the 5 Jnanendriyam. I hope you all are able to comprehend what I am saying? You all know the karmendriyas and the jnanendriyas. So 5 plus 5, 10, plus the Panja Pranan, the 5 prana. Prana, Apana, Udana, Samana. What are those 5 pranas? Pranan, Apanan, Vyanan, Udanan, Samanan. Correct? So then the Manasa, Buddhi, then the Desha Indriyam, 5 Karmendriya, 5 Jnanendriya. So Samanyudam meaning this is a mixture of these. So our subtle body is an instrument of experience, and it is constituted of 5 pranas, 10 organs, mind and intellect. And how they are formed? They are formed from the primary pure elements. Agasham, Jalam, Vayu, Agni, Prithvi. And how it happens? From the rudimentary elements, ultimately the 5-fold division and the mutual combination has undergone in these. But the reality is not a part or a product or a produce of the objects, so called as the Panchaprana or Deshendriya or Manasa or Buddhi. You are the subject. These all are objects. These all came from the 5-fold division and mutual combination. Clear? This is again repeat. This is slightly advanced, but it is the repetition. All the concepts are same. Maybe slightly more we are going, but technically it's the same.
5 prana, etc. is given.
Everything we covered in Atmabodha. Okay. Now verse 14. Anadi anirvachya karanopadi ruchyate ubadi tritayadanyam atmanam avadharayed. Anadi anirvachya. So this is anadi, this truth. The reality is anadi. It is from the beginning. There is no end. There is no beginning. Ignorance also. Both are like that. But your truth, your reality is anadi. Your reality is anirvachaniyam. Anirvachaniyam meaning it is indescribable. And avidya is also, right? So ignorance and truth. Brahman and Maya both are anadi. Correct. Similarly, ignorance or avidya is also indescribable, without a beginning, and that is the basis for the causal state. Avidya is the basis of the causal state. But be sure that Atman is different from these 3 upadhis, so called as causal, subtle and gross bodies. Be clear that Atman is different from the 3 sharirams. Karana, Sthula, Sukshma Shariram. 3 bodies. Correct. So, but then what is the problem? As the sloka says, the ignorance is indescribable and it is not having a beginning. It is anadi. So, due to this ignorance, we have transformed, or we transform one thing into another. What is happening is basically the Atma is superimposed with the Maya, with the Mithya. This is the problem. So we ourselves, out of ignorance, is superimposing the Atma with Anatma. So our scripture says you should have Atma, Anatma vivekam, so called as discrimination. Then dispassion is what? Attaching to the permanent and detaching from the impermanent. Knowing is important, knowing what is permanent, what is impermanent. Then taking refuge in permanent is important, that is called as the vairagyam. Correct. And you need to have certain disciplines in life, that is where the Shadga Sampatti comes into picture. And there should be an intense desire to get freedom in this life. That is called as the moksha or the mumukshutvam or desire, intense desire. So there is always the element of illusion in us, and that illusion creates a feeling that these all are real. In Sanskrit term, it is called as anyadagrahanam. We saw the two terms, avaranam and vikshepam. Avaranam is the covering of the truth, not knowing that. And vikshepam is basically what? Vikshepam is identifying something else in place of that truth. So here another term we can call or use is anyadagrahana. You are thinking and assuming something else as your true nature. When I say something else, you identify with the objects as your own true nature. That includes the body, mind, intellect, senses, which all will not exist. These all are temporary. They appear in specific duration, so called as the space or a time. And that will also create a feeling in us that these are the real. This is called as the illusion happening in us. So due to ignorance, this is how it is designed. We are transforming, one thing, and we are identifying our true nature with something which is not real. So one has to take a U-turn, that is it. Take a U-turn in the next junction and come back. Because it is there in your path. You don't need to get anything from outside. Correct. So U-turn will help. Correct. So that is what this sloka is saying. Verse number 15. Panchakoshadi yogena tattanmaya ivasthidaha shuddhatma neelavastradi yogena spadiko yada. So the Panchakoshadi yogena tad tanmaya ivasthidaha shuddhatma neelavastradi yogena spadiko yada. So my question to you, I usually use the analogy of the bucket, different colored buckets having reflection of the sun, and the reflections will be different. Correct? Technically, our true nature, our reality is not colored. Our reality is not having any attributes. The attributes are coming due to the different objects where the Atman is covered with. See how you might have seen in physics labs, you have seen the prisms, the light appearing. Is a prism having any quality as such? What is happening actually when you get a Vibgyor at the other side and all? You might have done this kind of experiments, right, in physics labs. Light is getting split. Correct. Similarly, if you see the sun, original sun, and the buckets which are having different colors, and the water which is there, you get different reflections of the same sun.
Even the sun itself you can consider. The sun appears yellow, but actually sun is white. This is giving white light.
Right.
But it appears yellow.
Yes.
Because
So these all are the perceptions we are creating. Correct. See, one is basically the ubadhis which we are having. Upadhis may give a different kind of reflections, no doubt. But again, on the top of that, we are creating our own perceptions. So here the verse says the non-dual Atman appears with differentiated attributes due to the Upadhi. But what Upadhi is doing is basically superimposing these characteristics on the Atman, superimposing these characteristics onto the truth. Just before I mentioned the Purusha, then the Sattvam, Rajas, Tamas, the Andhakaranam, the Karmendriyas, Jnanendriyas, influence of the Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, influence of Desha, Kala, Vastu. These all are the different, what is the right word? Different stains or the impurities that are getting superimposed on the Atman. And the Atman is not having any attributes. When I say no attributes, it has everything. All the alaukika and laukika guna it has, but as such, it will not get manifested. Maybe in Malayalam we say it's apragada. You cannot see that Atman having these characteristics unless it gets manifested. So that is getting manifested as an individual like me. That is getting manifested as an individual like him. But that Atman, that truth is beyond all those characteristics or qualities.
Advaita Vedanta, we are saying the Atma has no qualities. And in Vishishta Advaita Vedanta, they are saying Atma has infinite qualities.
Atman has infinite. When we say no qualities, it is the mix of all qualities that you can think. When I say mix of that, all the laukika guna and the alaukika guna. But as such, those will never get manifested as such until and unless there is an upadhi to get manifested. When I say upadhi, a human body, a human jiva, birth is needed. So Atman with no attributes,
So both are true.
both are same. Seems to assume attributes due to the interventions of the upadhi as well as the perceiver's mind, as you rightly mentioned. Upadhis and the perceptions superimpose these attributes onto the Atman. Correct? That is called as adhyarobam or adhyasam. You are superimposing these things onto somebody. Maybe in a layman's term, you might have seen in some movies like police could not find a victim and you found somebody and charge all the cases on him. You are the one who came first. Correct? Not like that, but adhyarobam. Basically, you are superimposing all the limitations of the different sheets onto that Atman. And what is happening is basically we are dwindling ourselves as a limited human being. This is the issue. Clear? Verse number 16. Vapustushadibhik koshair yuktam yuktyaavakhatataha atmanamandaram shuddham vivicyat tandulam yada. So what is it? Mostly people who are having this rice, paddy cultivation will understand this. Tandulam avaghadataha. Maybe How you extract the rice? Have you seen the process? How you get your rice as a final form?
You mean like dehusking?
Dehusking and all, right? So, but much before dehusking, there are a lot of process, right? How you get, because from the paddy plant, right? You need to cut it, you need to take it through some process, then get the what is the right word?
You mean those seeds?
The seeds. Then you need to dehusk it. Dehusking probably by boiling or without boiling, with boiling, 2 times boiling, 3 times boiling. Different processes are there. Correct. Ultimately, then even the quality of bran will matter based on the type of dehusking. So, what is the analogy here? What is the analogy here? So the analogy is basically you dehusk and get the rice which can be consumed. Correct. So one has to apply the rational discrimination or the self-analysis.
So the rice is the Atma.
That to distinguish the non-dual Brahman from the superimposed sheaths that enclose it. The sheaths are enclosing the Brahman, that is non-dual. In the same way, one separates the rice from the husk with the help of a millstone. So one has to apply the discriminative self-analysis and logical or rational thinking function of the mind. Mind should be conducive enough to understand that there is a substratum for my existence. I am just reflecting the consciousness. I borrow the consciousness from the original consciousness, which is the Atman, which is the reality of any individual. I reflect in this Upadhi. So the mind has to come to that level of understanding. Then you will, then you are on the right track. Conduciveness of the mind has to happen. That is called as the self-analysis or rational thinking function of the mind. Verse number 17. Sada sarvakadopyatma na sarvatravabhasade buddha vevavabhasada swacheshu pradibhimbavad. So this Atma is sarvagada, sada sarvagada. The Atma, it is spread everywhere. Sarvagadapi, sada sarvagadapi. Sarvagada meaning everywhere. It is spread. Atma sarvatra na avabhasade. It is not shining. What is the meaning here? It manifests only in the inner equipment. The Atman doesn't shine through. So the Atma doesn't shine though it is all pervading. What is the meaning here? So what happens if a person leaves the body and go? So the mind is going back to the Prakriti. See, the Atma still remain, correct? But there is no reflecting medium at that point of time for the Atma. It stands out separately. So the Atma doesn't shine though it is all pervading. So the mind has gone back to the Prakriti. Now what has to happen? Again for the Karana Shariram to come back as another manifestation, the divine Atman should bless and ultimately Karana Shariram and Atma enters in one form, so called as a manifestation. Otherwise it is apragadam. Apragadam meaning you cannot see. It becomes pragadam when there is a manifestation.
So can we say the Karana Shariram and the Atman has to enter the Sthula Shariram?
That will come. Sthula, Sukshma, Sthulam will come. That is how it is happening. If you see the baby is conceived, ultimately what happened? The Jivan should be there. The consciousness should come. Correct. So then slowly a cell is formed. Then along with that the maturity of the body also happens. Maybe the body will start shaping. Correct. So Sukshma, Sthula, Shariram will also grow. So RC, the causal body is already there. Causal and the conscious force. Correct. That is so called as the first beat. Spandana.
First beat means first.
The life coming into picture, right? So consciousness with the Karana Shariram. Then formation happens.
So Karana Shariram is then the personality.
It is all the accumulation of the vasanas.
Yeah.
Complete accumulation of the vasanas.
Which is basically a personality.
Yeah, it's a personality. Or you are not, you are, that is a bank balance deposit.
Yes.
It is a reflection, right? So it is just basically number there, you enter that number, right? For example, you have now Aadhaar or PAN, right? Everything is integrated. So complete whereabouts of the person will be there. It is the deposit. So our individuals, if you see, our individuals can be defined as original consciousness plus reflected consciousness plus reflected medium. All individuals like us. Atman, the original consciousness, and the mind is there. Mind is having the capability to reflect that consciousness. So reflected consciousness plus the reflected or reflecting medium, that includes the mind, body, intellect, and all the capabilities of this sarira. So individual is Brahman plus the Pradibimba Chaitanyam happening in the mind, or the Abhasa Chaitanyam, and the reflecting medium, so called as the Sthula Shariram, gross body. Or maybe in a very simple term we can say, any individual is the original consciousness plus Sthula, Sukshma, Karana Shariram. Are you all with me? So this reflected consciousness, the mind is reflecting the consciousness, and the mind is giving a feeling that I am the mind. Because I am the real self, because it is able to reflect the consciousness. So original consciousness plus mind is needed for an individual to be live. And when in the death body, what happens is the mind is going back to the nature. So called as the Karana Shariram is going back to the nature. So if you say original consciousness plus mind is called as an acting personality, or a person who is alive, and if the mind goes, what happens is basically we say it's a dead body, but the same original consciousness will continue. This is called as the Anvaya Vyatireka Bhavam.
What happens to somebody who becomes vegetable, as in like brain dead, but everything's still working?
Still the consciousness is there. Still the mind is there.
Mind is gone.
No, mind will not go in there. Even the thoughts, all those things will be there. But this is not in a regular scenario or a situation.
Right.
Correct. It is in a different, or we can say it's a corner case scenario. But still these are there, both are there. Otherwise the death would have happened.
Yeah, like when people are like brain dead but still,
Because certain upadhis which are needed are not active for a full-fledged person. But still the consciousness, still the mind, still the Karana Shariram is active. So, mind is still there to lend the consciousness to the body. That is why the body is survived. Mind is there. Clear. Verse number 18. Dehendriyamano buddhi prakriti-bhyo vilakshanam tadvritti sakshinam vidyad atmanam rajavat sada. So, one should understand that the Atman is always like a king. When you say king, here it doesn't mean that a ruler or something. Atman is the one which always outshines, distinct from the body, mind, intellect, sense. Atman is the Purushan, others are Prakriti. Atman is the Purushottaman, others are Prakriti. Atman is the Kshetrajnan, others are Kshetram. Atman is the reality and it is the witness of all other functions. Consciousness or Atman again is called as Vilakshanam in this case, correct? Yes, Prakriti-bhyo Vilakshanam. And this is an independent principle and cannot be experienced by the objects. Cannot be experienced by the objects, including mind, including the comprehending capabilities of your intellect. This is a realm which is beyond and behind the body, mind, intellect, senses. So one should understand that Atman is like a king. Rajavat sada Atmanam Tadvritti Sakshinam Vilakshanam Prakriti-bhya Dehendriya Manobuddhi. So these all are Deha, Indriya, Manasa, Buddhi, all are from the Prakriti. Correct? And what is the Sakshi? What is the witness for this? Is the Atman, who is outshining, who is like a king. Clear. Next verse, verse number 19. Vyaprudeşendriyeshu atma vyapari va vivekinam drishyate abhreshu dhavatsu dhavanyivayada shashi. Abhreshu dhavatsu yada shashi dhavanniva drishyate. Indriyeshu vyaprudeshu atma vyapariva avivekinam. So for a person who is lacking the discriminative intelligence, so maybe the analogy here is moon appears to be running when the clouds move in the sky. Have you seen this? Moon running. Sometimes you also feel when you are traveling and all, the clouds are also going. So we will feel, how come the moon is running? So whether the moon is really running or not, tell me. So this Atma is shining through the Ubadhis. And when the Ubadhis are undergoing changes or modifications, can we say the Atma is also undergoing modifications? So the one who has not really identified the true self will always identify the self as a miserable, limited being. So mind lacks viveka for the people where the mind is lacking the discriminative intelligence. Atma seems to be active in the truth. The perceptions of the world is only a mental superimposition. So such people will feel that I am a limited being, I am undergoing pleasure, pain and all those problems. Why I am punished like this? This is the kind of question such people will ask. So, it is not like the moon is running when the clouds are moving. It is just an appearance. So, similarly, a person who is ignorant, person who is lacking the discriminative intelligence will always feel that this Atma is active and undergoing the problems of the Upadhi dosha gets superimposed into the Atma. That is what the verse number 19 is saying.